following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is Mick Shots, streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app. Now, here are Bill Jones, Everson Walls, and Mickey Spagnola.
Hey, and it's the start of week number 2 in the National Football League. It is game day once again. It's already Thursday again. We got the Browns and the Bengals tonight, and we've got Mickey Spagnola in the SWBC Mortgage Studios, Everson Walls in the SWC Mortgage Walls Studio, and Mickey's probably going to get distracted again because he's got his television on. He's talking about what's on the NFL Network right now.
Yeah, he's worried about other teams. He should really concentrate on us, the Dallas Cowboys. That's the problem with this organization. Too many distractions.
I can multitask. Don't you worry about that.
All right. And there's plenty that the Cowboys need to multitask about as they get set to play the Atlanta Falcons. Have we put the Rams game behind us yet, Mickey?
Oh, I don't know. I've noticed a couple things once I got to see the All-22 that I thought was pretty interesting on why certain plays turned out the way they did. But other than that, yeah, I think the team has, and they've moved on. As Mike McCarthy said the other day, after they had their team meeting on Monday, it was on to the Atlanta Falcons. And so, they're practicing right now. They're probably just finishing up. And one of the screens up here, by the way, is where they're getting ready to interview Dak Prescott today. So, because remember, Thursdays in the locker room was Dak's day. Wednesday was Zeke's day, and Zeke explained his "Feed Me" tattoo to everybody yesterday. And we'll get the audio. I'll get the audio of Dak here when we're finished. I was thinking, wouldn't it be neat while that interview's going on Thursdays with Dak if we can just cut in live and listen to it? But I don't know if we're allowed.
That would be neat.
I don't know if we're allowed to do that. But I'm going to ask.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah,
probably not.
Yeah, we need to ask Chris that one. We need to ask Chris, can he multitask himself?
No, I bet if
Chris
we needed to, Chris
good.
could figure it out. It's a matter of if we're allowed to do it.
Well,
Also,
if Mike
guys,
McCarthy's press conference is live, then why not the quarterback's press conference?
That's a good point.
Got to be streaming live.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that.
Speaking of that, I was just looking for
the problem with that,
stuff he
Mickey,
had to
is
say.
if he is going to have his press conference at the same time that Mick Shots is on, that takes away time from you, and you do not want to have your time taken away.
You know what?
Right?
For the quarterback, I'll bend over backwards.
All right.
Uh-oh, I like that. I'll tell you what, guys, what I saw was a few guys getting thrown under the bus. You talk about putting last week's game behind us. I didn't know that Schultz was supposed to be the GOAT of the game. They talked about not just him missing passes, but they also mentioned that on that infamous fourth down play, that he didn't run far enough upfield to set the pick for CeeDee Lamb to get past the line to gain. I hate saying that. The line to gain. So CeeDee Lamb did not get to the line to gain because Schultz was too shallow to pick off his defender, or at least screen him a bit.
Now, where did you get that, Everson?
Hey, man, I can't call it out. I have my own.
Well, okay, then.
I have my own devices and things of that nature. And then I went back and looked at the play itself. And you could put a little blame there on Schultz, but to me, the basic.
That's baloney.
Yeah, I'm with you now. I'm with you, Spags. I'm with you. I mean, let's just be real. He could have done a better job of picking, but so could everyone else have. Dak could have thrown a better pass. CD still could have reached the line to gain, even without much extra effort.
Right.
So I see your hands up.
So
Yeah, what
I
are you gonna say,
I
Spag?
finally got a chance to see the all 22, and I must have watched that play 5 times on both shots. And yes,
Same here.
CD could have taken another step and gained the line. He cut it across, but 2 other things happened. Number one, that Joe Looney missed the help block on Aaron Donald, and Zach Martin got pushed back into Dak, and Dak couldn't step up to throw the ball. And consequently, instead of leading CD as he was crossing from left to right, he threw it right at his body, and CD had to turn and catch the ball in his body instead of catching it here. Had he been able to lead him, he would have had enough momentum to get across Fuller, who did a heck of a job of coming across the formation from the safety position and coming up and making a heck of a tackle. But if those 2 things would have taken place, either CD runs the route a little bit deeper or they block Aaron Donald. Now, he probably didn't get credit for a pressure on that, but Dak could not step up. He had to stand there flat-footed and fling it. And that's got to be, I'm thinking, a tough pass for a quarterback across a short distance to lead the guy so he can catch it out front. And that was one of the reasons why that play, didn't work the way they had hoped. And as a matter of fact, on the play before, it was 3rd and 6, and they hand off to Zeke. Guess who messed that play up? Aaron Donald once again. and Zach Martin had his hands full with Aaron Donald. And on that play, it looked like Joe Looney was supposed to chip and then go get the linebacker. Well, he missed the chip. So Zach was protecting to his right. I don't know if he's assuming he's going to get help to the left, but he didn't get it. And that screwed the play up. If they had got that block, Zeke's going to score a touchdown because the hole is huge.
It is
Connor
so wide.
Williams,
All you saw.
Connor
when
Williams did a
Zeke
heck
fell,
of a job on his guy. And if they had gotten that block on Donald, the linebacker was not going to make that tackle.
When Zeke fell, he slid, you could tell he slid down. He slid for about another yard. No one was even around him when he fell. Of course, he was tripped up before he fell. I would have to disagree with you a bit, Spags, in regards to the defensive back coming up from the safety position. I still thought with the momentum that he had, even if CD would have, if Dak was able to get the ball out there a little bit more, CD would have had to pull one of his OU miracles and catch it, and at the same time reach forward. That would have been a heck of a move to make. And Bill is a CD man, and I am too. We've seen him do that, of course, in college, and we know he has the ability. I still think the momentum of that collision from that safety still would have been a tough reach for CD to reach above the line to gain. I still don't think he would have made the play. But the 3rd down play, I thought, was extremely key. And we started talking about this because of Schultz. I look forward to Schultz really shutting everybody's mouth in regards to how he played this past game. This guy's a stud. I think he's a stud as well. He and Jarwin are almost tit for tat. I think he can block better than Jarwin, and I look forward to him making up for being the GOAT of the game.
And sorry, Bill, we haven't moved on, and I noticed one other thing on that play. For a split second, and if Everson looked at this, he probably saw it. For a split second, Dak was getting greedy. He saw the receiver coming out of the slot, running basically a post, and for a split second there, he was wide open, and I think he was thinking, I got a touchdown on this play. And because CD was wide open before he threw him the ball. He could have thrown that ball to CD a lot sooner before Fuller broke across the back of the linebackers and came up and made that. Had he thrown that sooner, he would have had the opportunity to turn up. quicker. But he saw that guy breaking, and just when I think he was thinking of throwing it, the linebacker got in the way, and he didn't have a clear shot, and then he came back underneath. But they had another alternative on that play, and it looked like he would have scored. It would have been a touchdown pass had he thrown it sooner. So there was a lot of other things in that play, in those two plays that I saw that took place.
All right, Bill, we're moving on, Bill. We're moving on.
But to that point, I'm monitoring it on Periscope, and there's a delay on Periscope, the video that Chris Beam is showing of the play, and you can really see it on Periscope where the linebackers are. They're at the first down sticks, and where CD starts his crossing route, he has to start it a yard upfield from it because they're guarding that first down line. And so it's easy to say that CD needs to get further upfield. Well, he can't get further upfield because there's two linebackers and then the safety comes up that are guarding that first down line on that crossing route right there.
Yeah, and unfortunately, without after the game, when no one has an opportunity to see those, then it's like, well, yeah, he should have ran. We should have executed better. Well, there was other things that needed to be executed better, and he didn't need to be executed for running the route short. So there.
And I'm watching it again right there, and yeah, I mean, your knee-jerk reaction when you watch it on television and you see the result of the play is, he's got to get further downfield. Well, then you go back and watch it, and how's he getting beyond the sticks running a crossing route when there's three defensive players right on the where the first down line is? It's impossible. So. Yeah. Anyway, I guess we'll move on, though, right?
Let's move on.
Yeah, we have to.
Okay, so one of the questions on Periscope, Mickey, this is from McCarthy's press conference today, and it is, what did you think about McCarthy's view about pre-snap
I knew
movement?
That was coming. Why is this town so enamored with pre-snap motion, right? Pre-snap motion. They don't do it enough. That's going to confuse the defense. And I thought his explanation...
Mickey, they ranked 26th in the league in pre-snap motion. They only were in pre-snap motion 4% of the time against the Rams.
And they didn't do it enough last year, and they gained more yards than anybody else in the National Football League, right? That was Garrett's fault. Now it's McCarthy's fault, right? What is it with the... I was glad that he explained pre-snap motion. Basically, he said it's for two reasons. One, to create somewhat of a nuisance, and two, it gives the quarterback a better read on what the defense is doing, because you're going to see if they're in man or zone. And then he went on to explain that he did it a lot early in his career at Green Bay, and then the more experience Aaron Rodgers was able to get, he could read the defense quickly himself without having to see motion to detect if it's zone or if it's man, and he didn't want it anymore. He wanted to read it in his own. And talking to Babe Laufenberg, he said Tony Romo hated motion because he felt like he could read it as good, and they didn't need to waste all that time running motion. And when you get into a hurry-up offense, there's no motion. You're getting to the line and you want to snap. You don't want to sit there and go, okay, come on, get him across the motion. No, I don't get why everybody's enamored with that.
Well, if you recall, that's what the Cowboys are really known for, going all the way back to Tom Landry. You talk about pre-snap motion. We had linemen going up and down. We had switches. We had Dorsett was going to swing. He and Ron Springs would just be going back and forth. They would have about 3 or 4 or 5 pre-snap reads just before you snap the ball. I mean, that was one of the more outlandish, I'd say, outlandish movements that any team ever had. That came from the Dallas Cowboys. Maybe that guy he must be in our generation that asked that question.
Well, because and so I'll ask you, Everson, how many straight years did the Cowboys go to the playoffs using pre-snap motion under Landry? It must have worked. It
took until 1984 till we finally didn't make it, if I'm not mistaken. So come on now. let's not start comparing everybody to Tom Landry. You're going down a deep rabbit hole with that one.
All right, Mickey, before we take this first break, anything else you want to get in off the top here from
we probably
McCarthy's
need
press
to clear
conference
up,
or anything else?
Yeah, we probably need to clear up the portion of practice that we were able to see. There was one guy missing from practice, and of all people, it was number 58. And you're sitting there going, oh, are you kidding me? You know, maybe the 74% of the snaps wore him out, but as it turns out,
wore
it appears
him out. I believe that to be true, Spags.
But apparently, he didn't do a good enough job flossing or brushing his teeth because he had a dentist appointment.
We'll take that one. We'll take that one. He deserves a break. As I looked at the game, he had an amazing game. Of course, he made some mistakes, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But the guy just had an amazing game for someone that hadn't played for 5 years, and for him to play at that high level, and you could see that he was a bit fatigued, but that's that football fatigue, to where you can still line it up and play the next play. He did that time and time again. Pretty proud of him, and boy, you talk about a steal. Will McClay, he deserves another. If he hadn't had a raise already, he deserves another raise for going out and finding this guy.
Actually,
but on Periscope, they're thanking Jay Glazer for that.
Yes, I was just going to say.
On Periscope. Thank you, Jay Glazer and Tom Sula, for Aldon Smith.
Well, Jay Glazer, that's where Aldon Smith went to do his training. And not only the physical training, but also mental training. And he runs a kind of a rehab training center where they athletes and former military people that need to rehab. And that's where, as a matter of fact, as the story goes, Mike McCarthy ran into Aldon Smith at Jay Glazer's training session in December before he even knew he was going to become the Cowboys head coach. He had gone to L.A. to visit his daughter, and I don't know if she was working there or working out there, but he visited the place and ran into Aldon Smith, and he kind of told the story when he did his first interview after signing with the Cowboys, how he kind of ran into Mike McCarthy, and he said, we just kind of talked, just kind of, and he goes, I kind of like the guy. And one thing after another fell into place. Remember, we interviewed his agent, Ron Slavin, on Mick Shots back in, I think it was early July, right? And he said, and he got a call and said, hey, would you be interested in this guy? So a lot of things fell into place. And I would imagine, the last thing you would have thought that he would have played that many snaps in the first game and then be the second guy on the team with 12 tackles, the only guy with a sack. And by the way, his pressure created that interception that Cheeto had.
Yes, it did.
So, and you're right.
Well, you say pressure. Pressure, it was more of a
club to the head.
Yeah.
That's a lot of pressure, right? When you get hit in the head.
That's a lot of pressure.
And he admitted, he said I wasn't perfect, and even McCarthy said it, and you can see there were some running plays that he didn't react correctly on the edge there.
He did not contain well.
And I'm thinking, God, if he did it all right, he'd have had 20 tackles.
That's true. That's very true.
He would have been Aaron Donald.
Yes.
All right. All right, we continue with more Mick Shots, and we take an up-close look at these Atlanta Falcons and some key matchups when we come back here.
Hey there, Cowboys fans. With Tide Cleaners at-home pickup and delivery, cleaning your clothes has never been more convenient. Simply sign up at your local store, set out your dirty clothes, and one of our Tide Cleaners professionals will come directly to your home for a totally contactless experience. Your clean garments will be returned promptly the next scheduled delivery day, so skip the errand and enjoy life, not laundry. Visit TideCleaners.com or your local store to sign up for Tide Cleaners at-home pickup and delivery today.
Make the most of summer with Ford, America's best-selling brand, during the Ford Summer Sales Event. With great offers on a huge selection of Ford SUVs and the largest selection of truck inventory to choose from. Get huge offers across the Ford lineup. So grab the family and head out. Ford's helping you make the most out of summer. It's easier now during the Ford Summer Sales Event. Based on 2019 calendar year total sales. Based on Autodata compact and full-size stock inventory as of June 2020.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
I'm Jay Novacek, former tight end for the Dallas Cowboys. Back in the day, I was the guy who always got the tough yards, and that's why I run with John Deere today. In fact, I have a John Deere 3025E tractor that can handle any yard work I need to do, even the tough yards way out back. So if you have 1 acre or 1,000, John Deere has the equipment that's just right for you. Visit a John Deere dealer today and run with us. We are the official tractor provider of your Dallas Cowboys.
Back to Mick Shots.
Let Dallas Cowboys Rhythm and Blue entertain you with some of the best hip-hop talent in the area, whether it's the high-energy co-ed dance team or the dynamic drum line. Either can be booked to provide a unique and unforgettable experience for your virtual or in-person event. Visit DallasCowboys.com/DCRB for more information or to book today. As we continue here on Mick Shots, and Mickey, I've got a text I need to answer right now for work-related purposes.
So how about
you
want me to carry on here?
With yeah, why don't you carry it here for a couple of minutes while I take care of this little text that I received that I got to take care of.
Talk about
right
multitasking. There you go.
Yeah, that's right. I can't multitask.
So
you do your thing. I'm listening while I do this.
The injury report that came out yesterday, the only guy listed on the Cowboys injury report was Jordan Lewis, and it was full practice. So he should be full go for this week. I would think the same for Brandon Carr, who was signed off the practice squad onto the 53-man roster. And he's been out there, practicing both days this week with the team. It looks really good in the drills we get to watch. So I would imagine they try to find some rotation that gets him on the field. And as for Atlanta, the only significant player that was listed that did not practice was Jake Matthews, their starting left tackle. So we'll see where that one goes as the week goes along. But yeah, he was not able to practice, and they had a couple other guys, but not really any of the starters to speak of. So both teams, for the guys that are there now, are pretty healthy. Although I keep seeing that Cowboys injured reserve list growing. It's now 8. I think it started with 3 before the first game or so, and now it's stretched out to 8. So that's getting to be quite a bit, and that's what I think, Everson, people need to understand about salary caps type stuff. When they see a team and it's like, oh, they got 10, 12 million, why don't they spend it? Well, when you start getting guys injured, when they go to injured reserve, they're still getting paid, but now you got to replace them with somebody else, and that continues to eat into your salary cap. So you've got to have a buffer on that cap, and the Cowboys usually like to keep about 10 to 12 million in buffer just for things like that, or the ability to maybe pick somebody up off the waiver wire. So from an injury standpoint, in practice today, as they started, they were in pretty good shape, except for Aldon Smith. And oh, by the way, I can't remember if we talked about this yesterday or not, but Randy Gregory is on the field now. He was conditionally reinstated, yes, and he's allowed to do conditioning work on the field. his own individual drills on the field and take part in the meetings. And so for the last 2 days, those are the first time we saw him out there working with the trainers on his own, and he looks pretty good too, by the way.
I have a question in regards to equipment. How did Jordan Lewis give up his jersey? Wasn't he number 27 last year?
Yeah, he was 27 last year, and now Trayvon Diggs is 27.
So here's what happened. So Clinton Dix veteraned him and said, "I want 27." And so he gave up.
So that happened first.
That happened first, and then when he got released, I think Lewis just decided, "I'll just keep 26." And he stayed with 26. And then Diggs, who was 31, decided he wanted 27. So he took 27. Did you ever have an argument about numbers?
For me.
No one tried to get 24
well, you know
from
what?
you?
When I went to the Giants, of course I wanted 24. But OJ Anderson, he's older than me, and he's a little bit of a jerk, so he wouldn't really negotiate with me much at all. They start calling him, instead of OJ, they start calling him Old J. So that was always my little payback for not getting my jersey. So that's how I ended up with number 28 with the Giants as opposed to having number 24.
Do you remember Jimmy's?
I was confused.
Go ahead, Bill.
No, you go ahead, Mickey. What?
I was going to ask Everson if he remembered Jimmy's first year training camp in Thousand Oaks when the Cowboys ended up acquiring Steve Walsh. And Steve Walsh was 4 in college. Well, Mike Saxon had 4 for the Cowboys. And somebody asked Saxon about giving his number up to Steve Walsh. And Saxon said, "Well, for a price, yeah." And so somebody told Jimmy about it, and I could still see us walking back over the bridge, and we're coming down that path towards the locker room, and somebody asked Jimmy about the number, and Jimmy exploded and said, "Yeah, well, Saxon ought to just take care of himself and make sure he's on the team to keep number 4. And, everybody, that ended up being the story that night, right? And it was the evening practice, too.
I don't think Jimmy liked kickers much at all. If you recall, when we were doing our first conditioning and he had us run like 17 110-yard dashes.
Yeah.
And the first thing that happened is a guy's over there bent over, and he happened to be a kicker that had asthma. And boy, you talk about, if it would have been Facebook back then, he would have gone viral by cursing out the kicker.
It did go viral even then.
It did.
Yeah, it went viral anyway.
It's still out there.
Wasn't it
you can probably find it on YouTube right now.
Was it Massimo
Whoever
Manca?
he was, he didn't stick around.
No, he was
did
getting
not stick
cut
around
anyway. He wasn't going to be the kicker, so Jimmy just sacrificed him and yelled at him and said,
"There you go."
Said something like, "The damn asthma field is over there," and he pointed to the empty field.
He said, "Take your asthma ass over to the other field." That's exactly what he said. Jimmy was such a bully. Jimmy was such a bully. If he could bully you, man, he would go off on you. Oh, my goodness. What a bully.
All right, we got any other number issues?
I just remember Jimmy. We'll get to a matchup here in a second. I just got to tell. Remember,
who cares? Who cares about the matchup? Let's talk about Jimmy. Go ahead.
Remember the game against the Giants?
Yes.
The post-game press conference when Jimmy was so mad, and he was talking about it was the worst officiating he's ever seen. Post-game press conference.
Is that what lost the game for us? The officiating? Yeah, that's what did it.
That's the worst officiating I've ever seen.
I think it was
since my daddy. What? Go ahead, Mickey.
I was going to say that was the '90 season when they went to New York and got clobbered, just got clobbered. Okay. And go ahead. And then he basically said
it's the worst officiating I've ever seen since my daddy said this is what you call a football.
Now, if that was in '90, then yeah, I was already with the Giants.
Yeah,
and we did whip their asses pretty well.
But if you remember,
but it had nothing to do with officiating.
But
There was a person named LT.
Yeah.
That's who it was. There was no officiating.
And if you remember the year before when you played that, it was one of the final games of the season. I think it was the second to last game, and you got shut out like 12-0, I think, by the Giants, and it was freezing cold. And after the game, and I saw this take place because I'd followed somebody out to the bus, and Jimmy called all the assistants off the bus that was going to take them to the charter flight and reamed them. And then one of his comments after the game, because you had I want to say there was 2 or 3 first and goals and didn't score any of them. The Giants just shut them down. And Jimmy said, yeah, we're just not strong enough. We got to get stronger. And then 2 games later, he fired Coach Ward that had been the strength and conditioning coach for ever.
That was
Ward
our conditioning coach from way back.
And everybody qualified it was, they weren't strong enough. It's like, no, they weren't good enough.
We had no talent on that squad, guys. It was 0 talent. I'm sorry.
All right, Everson, I want to ask you about one specific matchup. Cowboys secondary against these Falcons receivers.
Yes.
They had 3 100-yard receivers last week against Seattle. And specifically, how about Trayvon Diggs when he's matched up against Julio Jones?
Wow, that's going to be a heck of a matchup. Bama on Bama. The only problem is one guy has about 8-9 years experience over the other.
800 catches in his career now.
Well, all 3 receivers had not just 100 yards, but they had 9 receptions themselves. Julio, of course, is the man. He didn't score, but he had 150-plus yards in the last game. You better put your track shoes on, Trayvon. That's all I got to say. I'm sure he's already aware of it. I wouldn't be surprised if they may have talked several times on the phone between Trayvon and Julio. But right now,
Calvin Ridley too.
Thank you, Calvin Ridley as well. You talk about a guy. He had 2 touchdown passes in last week's game. You're gonna see a much more exciting offense than you saw against the Rams. I think it's going to be a lot of the same type of mechanisms that are going to be used. They're going to be throwing on first down. They're going to make sure that they have a short third down that they have to deal with. They're going to worry about our defensive line getting pressure. So Matty Ice is going to get rid of the ball very quickly. The problem you have with Julio Jones, probably one of the most athletic wide receivers in the NFL, and that goes out through a number of decades. He's big, he's fast, he's smart, he has experience, and he has a connection with his quarterback. They have a good combo thing going that they've been having going for a number of years. Trayvon Diggs is going to have a problem with Julio. I would rather you get Awuzie on Julio Jones rather than have Trayvon matched up against him. I want someone with a little bit more experience in dealing with the big physical receivers. And let's be real, guys. You can't play off man-to-man with these wide receivers. You have to challenge them. You have to make every route difficult for them, because not only are they good physically in catching the ball, Julio Jones has one of the best yards after catch that you're going to find throughout NFL history. Tough to bring down. He's even more dangerous after he catches the ball. So, guys, this is going to be a tough game. Yeah, Spags said it during the break. You might end up with each team scoring 30 points, at least.
And, if the Cowboys play sides, I bet Atlanta uses motion and get Julio Jones to the other side on Diggs, right?
Uh-oh, you got pre-snap motion?
Well, we'll be charting pre-snap motion this week, and maybe that will be a key to victory. All right, we continue with more Mick Shots in just a moment.
Hey there, Cowboys fans. With Tide Cleaners at-home pickup and delivery, cleaning your clothes has never been more convenient. Simply sign up at your local store, set out your dirty clothes, and one of our Tide Cleaners professionals will come directly to your home for a totally contactless experience. Your clean garments will be returned promptly the next scheduled delivery day, so skip the errand and enjoy life, not laundry. Visit TideCleaners.com or your local store to sign up for Tide Cleaners at-home pickup and delivery today.
Since 1865, Stetson hats are American-made with pride right here in Texas. And Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Want to show your Texas and team pride too? You can. By purchasing your own Stetson, you can look just like how the flag guys do on field at every home game. Stetson hats, the official crown of all self-respecting Cowboys and your favorite football team.
Get yours today at shop.dallascowboys.com or at stetson.com.
What do you call a group of grown men and women who get together every week, proudly wearing the star, to share a 3-hour-long ritual of cheering, shouting at the TV, and raising their Miller Lite together while yelling, "How about them boys?" You call it Miller Time and Cowboys Nation. Here's to the only beer of the Cowboys celebrating 60 years of greatness. Here's to the original light beer. It's Miller Time. Celebrate responsibly. 2020 Miller Brewing Company, Fort Worth, Texas.
Hey, Cowboys fans, ready to spice up your next watch party? Bring Yo Quiero guacamole and be the game day hero. Yo Quiero means I want, and we know you want great, fresh-tasting, ready-to-serve guacamole for your home gating and tailgating events. Made with real avocados and the perfect blend of spices, it will be the star of any party. You can find us at your local Albertsons or Tom Thumb in the deli section. If you can't find it, talk to your store manager and tell them, Yo Quiero guacamole. Back to Mick Shots.
I didn't know what the hell he was doing, but so, you know.
Well, I wasn't concentrating on that. I was concentrating on my camera.
Mickey, you're on the air.
Celebrating styles and design worn by players and coaches over the last 60 years, the Dallas Cowboys Pro Shop introduces the new era 1960 headwear collection that I am wearing right now. Find the full assortment at your nearest Cowboys Pro Shop and on shop.dallascowboys.com. And this is the 60th, the 1960 hat in that collection. So get online and shop for your hat of your choice.
All right, and the reason why Mickey was a little slow on the trigger, we were all getting set straight by our producer, Chris Beam, on the real story behind why Jordan Lewis gave up number 27. Well, as it turns out, after last season, 26 opened up for Jordan Lewis, and so he's actually switched to number 26 of his own volition because it was his college number at Michigan. So 27 was available when Ha-Ha came in. When Ha-Ha was let go, then Diggs switched from 31 to 27. And, of course, Diggs wore number 7 at Alabama, so that made a little more sense. Does that make any sense there?
Mystery solved, Christopher. Thank you, sir.
Sounds good.
Thank
and
you
by
so
the way,
much.
Everson brought something up that I got a mix shot on, by the way, via the Cowboys scouting report in their release. And I don't know if you guys saw it, but when you talked about the amount of yards Atlanta gets after the catch, especially Julio Jones, right? Well, there's a note here in the release, so I'm going to give them credit. The Cowboys gave up 275 gross passing yards in week 1 at the LA Rams, including 200 yards after the catch. So 72.7% of the Rams' total output through the air was yards after the catch. So Jared Goff never threw the ball more than probably 10 yards.
You are going to see that all over again until the Cowboys can stop it. That is the only way that any team is going to try and negate our pass rush, or at least the threat of a pass rush. And also, with the lack of pursuit that we saw in the game as well, most of that yak was caused by misdirection, quick screens to the wide receivers, and guys missing tackles down the field. And you didn't see a linebacker or a defensive back in the picture for 20 yards. So if I'm the Atlanta Falcons, I'm going to run that play until I see that the Cowboys can stop it.
You know, and we said we wouldn't look back, but on the big play, I believe it was to Woods when he came across the formation at the formation on the snap from the Falcons' right to left. Goff rolled out to his right and then threw back to him going left. They set up a screen, and there were 4 offensive linemen out ahead of him. Okay, 4.
Yep.
The only player the Cowboys had there was Jalen Smith. He had no shot, right? And here's what happened. They lined up a wide receiver, and Everson, you know, you kind of got to know what the defensive call is, right? So I'm not blaming anybody, but they had 2 wide receivers to the right. Kupp stayed there and blocked, and then they sent, at the snap, he came across the back of the offensive line to the left, and the receiver that was lined up to the left ran one of these kind of post routes, and Diggs went with them the whole way. And they ended up with Diggs and 2 safeties on that receiver, and nobody stayed on the Cowboys' right side of the defense, and I think that was like a 30-yard gain. So that was one of the reasons why the play was so wide open, that somebody busted a coverage.
Well, once again, that's the only way you're going to nullify the Cowboys' threat for a pass rush. And, you know, we're not really harping on the Falcons necessarily as we continue. Harping on the Rams, but the Falcons are looking at that video. They're looking at the game, and trust me, they are chomping at the bits at what our defense was not able to do against the Rams. So whatever you saw against Los Angeles, you're going to see it, and I think I would have to say you're going to see it with much better athletes on the edges, and you're going to see it with much better running backs in the backfield. So as much as Gurley didn't get 100 yards against the Seahawks, we're going to get a heavy dose of Gurley on first down. We're going to get him out of the backfield, and that's what happened with the Cowboys. Their failure defensively was they allowed the Rams to go big on first down, and they never could stop anyone on third down, really until the second half when they finally settled down. But we can't wait till the second half defensively to be aggressive. I think when you look at the Cowboys defense, what I always expect is that same defense that played against the Saints. I believe that was Sunday night. When you look at the potential of the defense that we have, that's the game that I always look at. Now, maybe I'm crazy, but I think that potential should be lived up to the longer they stay together. But it has not. As a matter of fact, it has gone downhill in regards to their aggressiveness and in regards to their understanding what the offense is trying to do. So somehow, some way, the coaches have to find a way to get this athletic defense that we have to be more effective in every facet of their drives. Because what you see is defensive backs letting tight ends beat them inside when the tight end is almost on the sidelines. You have to play for inside routes. When you see defensive linemen that are being fooled by the bootleg or the misdirection, all you got to do is stay home, and then that play turns into a totally different outcome. These are the kind of things that the Cowboys must shore up. And that's just all about preparation, guys. It's all about preparation and recognition. We have to, as a team, you don't need great individuals to make good plays. You need a team to stop good offenses. And so that's what the Cowboys have to do. They have to play as a unit. Right now, and even going back to last year, they were playing as individuals. And it's so disappointing to see such an athletic team, athletic unit, not live up to their potential.
And one of the things, one of the guys who played so well in that game against the Saints that you're talking about was Jordan Lewis. And, of course, Lewis wasn't there last week. Mickey, one of the questions on Periscope right now, if J. Lou is healthy, how many snaps do you realistically see him playing versus Atlanta? He was a full participant yesterday in practice, wasn't he?
Yeah, we were doing that as you were taking care of your work email or text or whatever it was. He's basically fully practiced the last 3 times they've practiced, or 4 times actually. So he's available, but that doesn't mean he's won a job. I mean, he hadn't practiced since I think that injury occurred the first week of training camp. And training camp, I understand, wasn't that long. So I don't know that they immediately say, okay, you're the slot guy. I guess we'll find out. Because the way they were playing it was Anthony Brown was in the slot quite a bit. They did a little bit of Darryl Worley in there with Awuzie on the outside and Diggs at the other corner on the outside. So we'll see where he fits in and just how many snaps he might get. But I don't know that they go into it and say, well, it's your job because they just haven't seen much of him in pads. So, yeah, we'll see where that one goes. And, when I said Woods caught that ball for 30 yards, well, it was 31 yards. And it ended up being almost the majority. He had 5 other catches for 75 yards or something like that. And that 31 got him over 100. So, yeah, the Cowboys got to be careful for that and the tight ends. And that was one of the things that they didn't adjust to, or maybe they don't want to do it. But in that first series, there was several plays that the Rams went 2 tight ends, and the Cowboys stayed in their nickel defense. So I'll be interested to see because the Falcons like their tight ends too, by the way.
All right, we're out of time on this edition of Mick Shots. How about we do it again tomorrow?
Oh, my God.
It's amazing how time
Where did it
flies.
go?
That's exactly right. I have no idea. But we're going to be back tomorrow. We'll be making our picks, including our picks to click when the Falcons come to town on Sunday at noon. We will see you again tomorrow at 1:30. So long, everybody.
So long, guys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.